But I've got a friend that I'm talking to, and it's really an interesting situation because of, I've known this guy for lots and lots of years. Since we were like 17, I think. And, we good friends at points throughout history, not friends at points throughout history. And it's strange because, he was, when I look back on it now, like I, as a kid, you don't realize it, but as a 46-year-old man, I look back on the group of friends that I had, and clearly, like guys like he and I, we were the only ones. We were surrounded by a sea of rich white people, and actually a lot more Jays than I think we realized. There were a lot more Jays. And it's funny, now that I think about it, this dude was really all into a girl named Jessica Schmidt growing up. And she's probably a Jay, I would assume. But, they were awful. They were awful people that we went to school with. And we didn't know any different. We were treated poorly and we were treated differently because of our skin color, because of our backgrounds. And, and we knew that. We were old enough to know that, but we didn't really understand it. It was it's so much different than people think it is, and especially at different points in your life, different levels. And so we haven't been talking for the last few years, and like I always tell people, when you're me, when you're like me, when you're the conspiracy person, you have to understand that you're making more of an impact. Yeah, it's the truth though, isn't it? You're making more of an impact on people than you realize. Because when you're talking about all these conspiracy things and these people are calling you crazy and you don't know what you're talking about, all that other shit, you're planting the seeds. And they eventually figure it out for themselves. They come to you and they say, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you notice this? Hey, what did you think about this? And it's like, hey, what the fuck are you talking about? I thought I was the crazy one. But when it comes to this whole thing, like this dude was the Arabic dude. His middle name is Palestine. Palestine. Well, Palestine. He's a Palestine. Whatever they called it. That's what they called those people. That's what they call. But we're talking, and he's like entry level sort of conspiracy theory, mid level. He's at a good place, but he's still got a ways to go. Like he sent me a Ken O'Keefe video today, and like you don't know it. I have a personal story with Ken O'Keefe. I have a personal, like, holy shit, this guy's way more fucked up. Controlled opposition. The whole thing goes way deeper than you think. I discovered Ken O'Keefe in 2016. It was like June-ish of 2016. And, I know I'm this big, arrogant piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. But I fell in love, man. This was just before you could go live on Facebook. So I was making videos all about chemtrails and doing all these kinds of things. And I had been hurt for about a year. So, I went from having almost nothing to 5,000. When I was talking about chemtrails and posting pretty pictures and all that shit all the time, I was allowed to have a really meteoric rise. And 2016, June, around then, I discovered Ken O'Keefe. And I was just like, again, I know I'm the arrogant guy, but I was like, everybody, that's the guy. Don't follow me. Don't listen. That's the guy right there. And it was because he was saying the things that he was saying about the Jays that made me, I was like, he's the one saying the truth, and because he was saying the truth, I was reserved. I was like, okay, well, my blinders were on, and the red flags that would come up, I would just ignore them because I wanted this guy to be the guy. It's Ken O'Keefe, like that. Look, so he had just finished his World Citizen tour, and if you don't know, that is back in 15, 16, he was going around college campuses giving presentations, and they were amazing, and that's what you can find on YouTube. So I was like devouring everything I could find Ken O'Keefe. I was just like, this guy is amazing. Finally, somebody's saying something. Let's rock. So I write the song, The Samson Option. Again, I've been trying to tell you guys about the Samson Option for years. For those that don't know, the Samson Option is the strategy, the deterrent strategy Israel has that says they'll basically nuke the world if they ever feel like they've like that if as a last resort strategy if Israel has ever been invaded and or destroyed, right? As long as they have that distinction there, because they could say, I could invade Israel, and they say, oh, we're getting invaded by the U.S. Let's launch our nukes. That's what that leaves that open for. But I discovered the Samson Option all that time ago, and I wrote the song and I sent it to the Ken O'Keefe people, and they just sort of like, okay, thanks a lot, whatever. So all this takes place in like a week too. So I start looking for everything, and then I noticed that the last video of Ken O'Keefe that actually exists is not actually his. It's from outside of a diner, and it's the JDL is outside protesting. The J Defense League, they're outside protesting, and they zoom in on the window, and he's standing there all scared faced, and they zoom in real close, and then it ends, and then there's nothing. And so I'm like, where the fuck is Ken? Like, what's going on? And like I say, I sent the song to the Facebook page, and I reached out, and they were like, oh, Ken's this, like, it was just this weird sort of thing. And by this point, I had already known, like, if they want you to disappear, you disappear. Like, I was worried because being a content creator, you don't get to where Ken O'Keefe was. You don't get to where regular dumbass Guy Williams is watching your videos and then just walk away from it. That's the goal. You're doing your thing so that a Guy Williams knows who you are. So that when Ken disappears, something isn't right. And I noticed that it's been like a month, maybe longer. So I start, instead of my daily chemtrail video, and the chemtrail videos had become kind of like this, but they were just videos because there was no live yet. I started, putting these videos out. Hey, everybody, stop what you're doing. One of our leaders in this truther community has gone missing. All of the truthers out there, come together. Let's see if we can find this guy. Let's make sure he's okay. That's all I want. I just wanted to know he was okay. And so, I make a couple of videos, and within a couple of days, each video has 5,000 views on it, something like that. And all of a sudden, I get a message from Rudy Maxa. Now, if anybody knows who Rudy Maxa is, he's an associate of Ken O'Keefe's. Like, he's another truther guy, but he's not on the Ken O'Keefe level, but he's associated with him. And then this woman named Samantha Bachman also reached out to me, saying, hey, I'm one of the money people behind Ken O'Keefe, and you should, like, they both say, listen, we like what you're doing. You're on the radar, and I'm gonna give you some information. You just can't tell anybody that you're talking to me. So I immediately know I'm being played, but I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm looking at this as an opportunity. And so both Rudy and Samantha are telling me things that, like, that come out the next day or two regarding Ken. That he took the money, the $130,000 that he was able to raise, and went off to Colombia with some young chick, left his wife and his kid behind, and went off to, like, there's lots of shit. Like, I was getting fed all this shit. I would put out videos saying, hey, Ken, I'm hearing these things. I just want to know you're okay. If you're out there, you know, please just respond, let everybody know you're okay. Like, that was literally my concern. I was genuinely concerned for the dude. And at one point, Rudy was like, hey, check out how Ken got started, when Ken sort of appeared. And you look into the story, and it's that Ken put together a group of, like, he had raised a bunch of money or food or something for the Palestinians, and he had a few boats that he was bringing the food over. So this is the narrative. Bringing the food over on these boats when the Israeli military stopped and took over the boats and took everyone hostage, and they supposedly killed everybody but two people. One of those people ends up being Ken O'Keefe. And I just thought, wow, that's amazingly coincidental, right? Like, the one guy you don't kill is Ken O'Keefe. And then if you look, like, Ken is released, and when he's released, he's there's somebody waiting there to interview him, some newscaster, and he's got like a red mat, a blood mask. He hasn't wiped his face. Like, it's just this weird, really weird. If you want to believe, you will, but if you look at it skeptically, there's just some pieces that don't quite make sense. So immediately, like within a couple of days of me making these videos, saying these things, the Ken O'Keefe Facebook page reaches back out to me. And they're like, oh yeah, we played your song for Ken. He really loved it. We're going to put you on, we're going to pin it to the top of the page. And I'm like, fucking A, that's fucking amazing. Like, okay, cool. Thank you. And within a couple days, like within that first 24 hours, the song has like 3,000 views. Like, it's just fantastic. And it suddenly dawns on me that they're trying to buy me. The one thing that I can say about me, where my one weakness is like support, is stroking that ego, so to speak. Like, you're not going to bribe me. You're not going to trick me. You're not going to do, but when you're not going to threaten me, whatever, but when you look like you're helping me, I'm going to pull back a little bit. At least I used to. And so maybe it was 24 hours, 48 hours later, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I still don't know where the fuck Ken is. What's going on here? Why would Ken likes my song. He can listen, but he can't make a response video. Nobody knows where this fucking guy is. He's MIA. Like, all he has to do is get a cell phone and make a fucking video. Why isn't he doing that? And I immediately made a video regarding that. Like, this, I'm not going to be tricked like this. And instead of me being embraced, especially being like one of the only truthers I know that was dropping what they were doing and like, hey, let's focus on this guy and his safety. I didn't know anybody else that was doing that shit. You would think I was going to get, like, again, support, but instead I get attacked. And his people on his page are attacking me, telling me, oh, I'm a shill, all this other shit. And then eventually I get a message from Ken. Well, it's supposed to be Ken. And it's almost like somebody studied his mannerisms and the way he spoke and just wrote out this thing with a bunch of like little catchphrases of his to try to convince me that it was him. And maybe it was him, I don't know. But it ends up just going like just crazy. I finally, like, I realized what's happening with Rudy, and well, I already but I got sick of the whole Rudy and Samantha thing. So I happened to mention either Rudy or to Samantha or Samantha to Rudy, and within like 24 hours again, both of them are like, well, I told you not to tell anybody about me. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm not worried about you. Like, something wasn't right about this from the beginning, so I wasn't really worried. But I have my own personal Ken O'Keefe story. I'm the guy that brought Brian Mullen out of hiding. You guys know who Brian Mullen is? Probably one of the best earth shape questioners slash controlled oppositions they've ever given us. And he made the Balls Out Physics series that really did fucking blow the doors off of the round earth thing. And that whole story about his journey, like, again, I was there. I was there and I was talking with the guy, and I'm sort of the reason why certain things happened in the beginning. And then as it went further, and then he disappeared and blah, blah. If you go look at my videos, if you go look in the previous videos, you'll see the shit about Brian Mullen. You'll see when I call the engineering firm he's supposed to work for. He's supposed to work for an engineering firm that has the NDOT contract for the North Carolina or something like he supposedly works for what's called Arte engineers. Looks like RT engineers, but it's a fake page. It's a page that anybody who's not real well versed on how computers work and whatnot, you'd go to that website and you'd think that was a real website. But when you look deeper into it, you realize that there's no real substance to it. So I call the number, and instead of there being like an answering service or anything like that, it happens to go to the head, the what they say is the CEO of the company's cell phone, his right to his cell phone, where the message is immediately forwarded to voicemail. And then he calls me back and he's like, "Oh yeah, Brian Mullen was abducted by aliens." And like, he's really weird about like the whole thing. I encourage you to go look at it, because I believe I completely blew the shit open. And then you see the response video from Brian that literally came out either that day or the next day. And he references me, people calling my work and blah, blah. Like it's and then they changed the website. It's all just crazy. And so I'm talking to my buddy about this stuff today. And it's like, he even said, call me. And it's like, I can't call you, dude. I can't. You don't want to think that I'm that guy. You want to think Ken O'Keefe is that guy. You want to think whoever is that, Alex Jones is that. You don't want to think I am. So you're going to automatically have assumptions, and you have no idea what I've done and what I've been through over the last few years. Oh yeah, do I? Isn't that funny? Again, here comes the Team Jorge bots to tell me I should stop doing what I'm doing. These people that watch me day after day after day for hours on end, telling me I should stop doing what I'm doing. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. And the thing is, like, I don't want to sit here and talk about Ken O'Keefe. I don't want to sit here and talk about Brian Mullen. I don't even necessarily like talking about the Earth shape argument, because the reality is it's all a distraction. Everything that isn't us talking about the J conspiracy and how the Jays control all of these things, and how the only way we can get answers to all of those other things is if the Goyim unite and overthrow the Jays that control our narrative. Like, unless we're doing that conversation, we really are just doing what they want us to be doing. The only one might be losing your mind for. Yep, that's what it is. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind because I read things and I know things that you don't know, and I ask questions that you don't ask and aren't smart enough to answer. That makes me crazy 100% of the time. I know. And again, you're gonna do that. You have anything else you could be doing in the world right now, and instead you're going to be here because you hate me so much. Ask yourself these questions, people. Ask yourself why anybody in the world would come to this feed and oppose this feed that's all about we Goyim uniting together to overthrow the Jays that control the narrative, that keep us slaves, that are committing genocide right now, that control the pedophilia network in Hollywood and the government and all of that. Everything bad. You know, think about Mel Gibson, right? Mel Gibson was the guy, the actor, the everything, and then lost his career because of video. Well, he didn't really lose his career. Makes you wonder, was Mel Gibson just getting tired of it all and was like, look, I just don't want to do the acting thing anymore, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, great. What we need you to do is do this one last gig and we'll pay you real good, sly, like under the table. Plus you already got your multi-millions, right? And you just do this and you show the Goyim what they're not allowed to say. That's basically what it's going to come down to. Because think about it. Mel Gibson, when that happened, that was like early, like a lot of cops didn't have body cams back then. So the fact that these cops happen to have body cams and then that footage was like immediately given to the media, how does that even take place? How does that even work? Why aren't submarines real? Oh, well, hey, let me stop what I'm talking about and talk about that. If you want to know why submarines aren't real, go watch the first 9 parts. Or just go try to find real footage of submarines underwater. See how much you can find. Learn about it. It's just like anything else that exists. There's a narrative that you believe, and then there's a lot more to it. Like, think about this. I try to mention this every feed because it's just so fucking mind-numbingly crazy, right? Muslims believe Muslims are the best. Jays believe Jays are the best. Christians believe that the bad guys in their Bible, not because Satan's not the bad guy in the Bible, the Jays are. That the bad guys in their Bible, the people that killed their Jesus, their superhero, their Christian God's only son, those same people are Christian God's chosen people, favorite people. If you believe that, then you'll believe anything. You know, it doesn't matter. The thing is, like the whole Samson option, right? It doesn't matter whether nukes are real or not. What matters is you believe Israel will nuke us all and is essentially allowed to do it if we step out of line. That's what matters. What matters is if you believe it. You know, when Neil deGrasse Tyson was making a point about, you know, space travel and whatnot, he's like, it's simple. It's simple. All you got to do is calculate. They said they used X amount of fuel. Well, where could they possibly go with that much fuel? Obviously, they went to the moon. Like, that's the kind of answers that you get from the system. And that's the insanity that we all believe in. But I think one of the craziest things we all believe in is germs. The Jays that control our system know they can't actually best us in very many things. They're not in charge because they're smarter than everyone else. They're more capable than everyone else. They're in charge because they're more ruthless. They're more heartless. They're more compassionless. They're the type that can starve people and not think about it. They have something called the Hannibal Doctrine. It's one of the Israeli, it's one of their directives or whatever. And that is, if any of them are ever taken hostage, kill them. If you have the shot, take it. because that way they can't be used as a bargaining chip. They can't be used against Israel. Go ahead, look it up, the Hannibal Doctrine. Understand that Hanukkah just passed, right? Hanukkah is a celebration, like the what they're celebrating with Hanukkah is the fact that they cut and suck baby penises. And they weren't allowed to until they started killing themselves. Until a group of Jays, according to the narrative, went around the country, using Godspeed, went around the country killing Jays who refused to circumcise. And eventually they built up an army and blah, blah, blah. It's all, I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying the narrative they give us is that they killed themselves. They're horrible, horrible people. If you know how the Jays look at their women and think of their vaginas, it's insane. Every time someone calls this a bong, they're showing you what a square they are. And I assume it to me right now, it sort of seems like it's part of they haven't fixed the programming in the bot program. So the bot still recognizes it and calls it a bong when they haven't fixed it to say bowl from now. Because, it's clearly a bowl. Like, if you don't know the difference between this one and this one, you're really stupid. But that's what squares do. Squares are like, yeah, oh yeah, you're going to get high and start seeing things, right? Ooh, you smoke some weed? Are you all high now? You're like, shut up. What are you talking about? It's not what weed does. But it's all about keeping us from talking about the Jays. That's literally it, man. Everything is a distraction because as long, they don't care what we're focused on. They control all of it. They give it to us in pieces as they want us to know. And as long as we're not talking about them, they don't give a fuck. That's really all it comes down to. Well, the thing is, if you're going to point it out, then you should know better. I'm not saying that if you don't know it, that just... You see, when stupid people can't actually argue the point, they argue their own narrative. You can take this with you in every exercise possible. Like, I watch First Amendment videos all the time. And the one thing you'll always notice is that when somebody corners a cop, they'll say things like, look, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not here to argue with you. Like, they immediately change and start arguing their own narrative because they can't. Listen, I'm talking about the Jays. I'm not talking about little kitty stupid shit. I'm talking about the big boy conversation. Why don't more people have an ability to have the big boy conversation? Do you not think there's a genocide? Do you not think that there's a J conspiracy to control the world? You don't think that's the case? Well, if I'm wrong, why don't you just tell me how and why? I just never understand why anybody would put in the effort to make me look better by saying stupid shit instead of making me look stupid by debunking what I'm saying. Are you trying to say that there's no J conspiracy? I mean, I know nobody ever denies that they eat foreskins. Nobody ever denies that they eat placenta. Nobody ever denies that, they suck on baby penises. Isn't that interesting? You could sit here, you could tell me, you could say anything. You're not bound by the live feed. I'm live. I'm the one that if you say something, I'm reading it and I'm like, oh God, you would know if I stumbled. You would know if you got me on something. But instead, you just keep insisting on proving that you can't argue what I'm saying because there's no argument. The Jays are the absolute worst and they need to go. Really simple. And see, we live in this weird world where, we're not supposed to say things like that. Why? Why am I not supposed to say things like that? Why am I not supposed to, like, why would anybody want me to not be who I am? You want me to pretend like I like you? That makes you feel better if I pretend like I like you? Why wouldn't you want the honest truth about whatever it is? 2025 is the year of honesty. We're going to be honest about everything we can see, everything we come across. That stupid ass New Orleans thing, that shit ain't right. This has all the hallmarks of an ISIS attack. You know how stupid you have to be to fall for ISIS? I don't think I'm going to do anything about whatever's going on. I got a family who counts on me, and I refuse to let them down no matter what evils of the world are up to. Well, but that's just it. My motivation is 100% true selfishness. Right? True selfishness is me wanting myself, my wife, my children, their children, blah, 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 to live the happiest, healthiest, safest life they can live. And the only way that can happen is if everyone else is living the happiest, healthiest, safest life they can live. So my motivations are very selfish, but I'm proud of that selfishness. And what are you going to do to stop them? Well, I'm doing it. Clearly what I'm doing matters. If what I was doing didn't matter, do you really think there would be all these crazy people? You got to stop talking. You got to stop talking. If I was sitting here telling you the secret is unicorn poop, you think there'd really be a whole bunch of people here trying to tell me, oh, you can't say that. Don't say that. Don't you say that about the unicorn poop. Don't say that. You know, I can have a feed where I'm talking bad about Muslims all day. I'm talking bad about Jesuits all day. I'm exposing Hollywood all day. Talking about Trump or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to get in trouble for any of those things. Unless, of course, I connect the J aspect to it. Then you get in trouble. It's the only word I'm not saying because, you know, it's flaggable. And the thing is, you know something isn't right because of how much they hide from it. They hide from it. You know? If I was wrong, they would absolutely embrace it. They would absolutely come at me and say, hey, young man, I think you're mistaken. Here, let me explain to you what you're getting wrong about this. Let me help you understand that. You know, you're not going to get mad at somebody for getting something wrong. I mean, look at it. Look at the desperation here, right? Look at this desperation. How come nobody addresses the things being said if the things being said are wrong? Like, oh, I don't have short hair and it's not blonde and my skin's not white and my eyes aren't blue and my shirt's not clean enough and my house isn't house enough and my, you know, every excuse you can come up with, but you're not going to debunk anything I'm saying. Especially these dumb Jays, these dumb piece of shit Jays. They are the worst people in the fucking world. They steal everything. Can anybody tell me? I've been asking this for a long time. I've been sort of approaching this from a different place now. Instead of me saying, tell me what I'm getting wrong, please just tell me some good stuff that the Jays bring to the world. If we got rid of the Jays, we would lose this great shit. Yep, must be tweaking. Debunk what? We have no idea what you're saying. You have no idea what I'm saying? Wow, you must be really stupid. You must be really, really stupid if you can't figure out what I'm saying. And I tell you guys this all the time. The Jays are really, really fucking stupid. They are not in charge because they're smarter than us. One of the best examples of it is when the UN is talking about opening up the books on Israel and looking into what they're doing, because it's supposed to be, this 75 years is supposed to be a temporary occupation. but it's starting to seem more like a colonization. And the brilliant Israelis that they are, they say, they thinking that this actually like works for them. They go, you can't say that. You can't look into Israel. You can't open the books. That demonizes Israel. They think that that's like, and we're supposed to go, oh, we don't want to demonize you. Oh, no, no, that's not what we're doing. Instead of going, well, if you were doing everything okay, then it wouldn't matter. We couldn't demonize you. You can't demonize somebody that's doing the right shit. Look at how much these idiots try. Look at how much they try to like affect me in a negative way, and they can't because I know I'm right. Whoa, what are you even talking about? Really? You can't understand I'm talking about the J conspiracy, Israel, and how they control you don't understand that? Are you really that stupid? We're not, because there's nothing to debunk. We agree about the Jays. We're mocking the rest of your joke. You're talking about another thing. Yeah. No one is saying I'm wrong about the Jays. Oh, well, I guess you're not really paying attention there, are you? You must be on some drug-filled psychosis. Fucking. I mean, have you ever even seen what drug-filled psychosis looks like? I love how they always go, oh, schizophrenia. Really? Am I talking to the voices in my head? Am I looking out the window thinking somebody's trying to get me? Multiple personalities? Is that what I'm doing? Literally, I'd say at least half the time I'm doing this, I'm reading to you guys what we're supposed to know. I'm not even looking in the conspiracy pages. But why do you think there's a consistent, like, character assassination? They're constantly trying. I say this all the time. If I was drunk all the time, if I smoked all the meth, and I ate all the crack, and I beat my wife, and I hit my kids, and I kicked my dog, and you know, I did all these things. I was on all of the welfares and all the food stamps and everything like that. Would that take anything away from what I'm saying? From any of the shit we're talking about here? Would that take anything away from Israel as committing genocide? Would that take anything away from you know the whole Hollywood pedo thing? Does anything I do, because you guys love talking about me, but I'm always talking about the bigger picture. Why am I more important to you than the bigger picture? We gotta make a quick phone call. Sing it. God, people are dumb sometimes. Oh, see again. I love when they're stupid enough to say shit like that. Like, okay, so I'm either in a basement or I'm in a trailer or something, right? I'm in a 2-story basement, 2-story trailer in the middle of a neighborhood. If people are desperate enough to say stupid shit that's that easy to debunk, just like that. See, I listen to what you guys say and I debunk what you guys say, even if it's stupid. But if they're willing to say that desperate shit, instead of debunking anything I'm saying, they're going to make stupid, baseless claims that I could just debunk simply by pointing a phone out the window. Then what credibility do they have across the board on anything else? I mean, think about how stupid that is. Why would you ever fucking be that stupid? And again, it's always character assassination, right? Because I'm talking about the bigger picture, and these guys want to talk about me. They just love me. Or well, they hate me. They hate me so much that they watch me for hours and hours on end. And this is not Team Jorge, right? This isn't Israel, is it? We did a pretty in-deep expose on Team Jorge the other day. But let's just see if this makes if this sounds familiar to you guys. Team Jorge is the name. Just it's me. I know I'm making it up. Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm run social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. So you think if they can manipulate the outcomes of elections, they could probably manipulate a Facebook page or two, page or two. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called AIMS, Advanced Impact Media Solutions, where they have now. If you listen to like what Zuckerberg's been saying and shit about how, they're so opposed to these bot farms and blah blah blah. They took down hundreds of this and hundreds of that. In this country they took down 100. In that country they took down hundreds. This one Israeli contractor has 30 to 40,000 in 2022. And this is just one. This is just one of many, many Israeli black ops organizations, extremely well funded by the government, by the US government, to fuck with, literally fuck with the world. And their stated goal is to fuck with people that go after Israel and the Jays. It's bot farms. They have these bot farms. This is the smoking gun evidence right here. This isn't like, you go ahead and look up you don't think Wikipedia is a good enough source. Go ahead and look up the news reports. This thing won the journalism prize by Online News Association or whatever for 2023 outstanding like cooperative media story expose, whatever. This should have been all over the place. This should have been every news outlet in the world should have picked this story up. This is the proof that Israel fucked with the 2016 elections here in the United States, not Russia. They don't show you the evidence to show you Russia interfered with the election. But Israel absolutely did. The evidence is all over. And yet again, I'm not saying anything that could be debunked. I'm just making up all this nonsense, and it's all just fake bullshit, blah, blah. None of this stuff is debunkable. Why would any Americans care that we give a country $3.8 billion a year to spy on us, to infiltrate us? And remember, this is just Team Jorge. Israel has like countless. We have no idea how many black ops organizations they have specifically doing this shit. Right? But there's nothing to debunk here. These disgusting Jays, these are the same ones that control Hollywood. Rape kids, do all that fucking horrible shit. Why aren't we like angrily removing this cancer from our collective body. The group was exposed in February 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Israel and France. Manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide, 27 with successful results. Blah, blah. Even the name Team Jorge is deception. If I said to you Team Jorge, you wouldn't think Israel. Not in a million years. That'd be the last thing you'd think. Isn't it amazing? I mean, let's just say I was smoking all of the drugs. How come if I'm so compromised, again, you guys can't debunk any of this? And you can't keep, I mean, Team Jorge, that's official shit. The Samson option, that's official shit. The Abraham Accords, you know? You guys are all cool with the Abraham Accords? And the one jackass that said he agrees, well, if you agree with me, then why aren't you supporting? Again, this stops you from supporting the only guy that you know saying these things? Boy, that makes sense. I don't know anybody else saying this shit. I don't know anybody else proud of their anti-Semitism because they know what words mean. And my buddy today, he was talking about it. He was saying, you know, Arabs are the Semites and this, that, and the other. And I was like, dude, but why does any of that matter? See, like I said, my friend is a low, mid-level truther at this point. He's getting into it. And he says he's years and stuff, but he's when you, like, it's always interesting because when you're in this circle for a long time, you can usually gauge where people are by the narratives they believe, because at some point you believe them. And obviously he hasn't gotten gotten to Tartaria and all that shit yet, because Tartaria is like the final piece of the puzzle, right? Once you start understanding the concept of the reset, and then you apply it to the whole J religion, how they don't have a whole bunch of written history because apparently it was all oral forever, and how so much of their shit just sort of appears, and like Hebrew is the youngest language on the planet. You know that? Bro, you're YOUR insane. Yes, my insane something. If you're that dumb, if YOU_RE that dumb, that you can't even get basic words right while you're telling me how crazy or stupid I am, I mean, I hope you never actually realize how funny that is and you keep doing it, because, again, it just completely, like, it doesn't matter what you say at this point. You've already proven you're as dumb as it gets. I mean, your phone even tries to correct you when you're doing that shit. But then again, if you type bro, that says a lot too. Bro. YOUR. Oh, that's fucking clever. You guys are fucking amazing. It's amazing how unbelievably stupid this system is, and how they've made us so stupid. Like, I honestly, I refuse to believe that a lot of this, like, I'd much rather it be bots, because I really just hope that my brothers and sisters aren't this stupid. I really do hope that it's just a bunch of dumb piece of shit Jays, because that would make more sense to me. We can't be this stupid as a population. I mean, that does explain why, we are where we are. That's why we let these you know, far inferior pieces of shit be at the top of our pyramid. But my buddy like getting upset about, we are the Semites and blah. You don't know. You really don't know. All we know is the narrative that we are given now. But we just, whatever they tell us the history is, we don't know that to be true. I know that there are pictures, the oldest pictures of Palestine show a place you wouldn't expect. Right? They show a place where you'd be like, wait, that looks a lot more modern than I thought. He's actually right about the language thing. I am. I'm 100% right. I'd love to know what I'm wrong about. That's the thing I'd love to know. I appreciate the thing about me being right. But see, that's why I'm dangerous, right? Because after a little while, even the worst, not the worst trolls, but the ones that are sort of fringe, new level, new recruit kind of trolls, I'm going to snag them. They're going to start to realize, like, wait, I'm fighting against the guy that wants to overthrow the Jays and kill the pedos? Why the fuck am I coming after that guy? I'm not a pedo. I'm not a Jay. Why would I even? There are plenty other people to fuck with. This how you know it's more part of that conspiracy. Because, like, if it was really all about just reactions and things like that, they would go to like newscasts and they would do it in anywhere else but truther pages. Yet for some reason, regular people are mad at truthers who want a better life for all of us. It's wild, man. It's wild. Anyway, I'm sure my friend jumped off a long time ago. But it's too bad. I guess the nighttime feeds we got to build up that audience before we can. And you never know anymore. My shit's hit or miss. Yesterday it's 12,000. Today it's 4,000. Like, is what it is, I guess. I don't. As long as it's getting out, that's really all that matters. I'm surprised I let this one go this long. Normally I would have just cut this and restarted when it wasn't where it should be, but I just assumed my friend was still here. But that was stupid because I knew he's been gone for. I don't know. I'm just dumb. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. Go get your free download. www. Oh, you're still here. Oh, well, as long as we're still here, I'd love to know what you think, man. Like I say, this if you haven't gone down the Tartaria path yet, you need to. Because the thing about Tartaria is, I mean, we all know it. You've been to Detroit a gazillion times, right? How many times have you gone and stood in Detroit and known where you were standing and go, okay, so this building was supposedly built in the 1800s. And you look up at it and your only thought is, how the fuck did they do this? Well, these buildings exist all over the world. The same style, and they're all these buildings built in 1-2 years. At least by the narrative we're given. Obviously, it's not real. Obviously, it's not true because we all know it's not true. You know it when you see it. You know we're not capable of even doing that today. My dad used to work in a building. I forget what building it was, but I remember it would just be amazing walking through the building and seeing just the intricate marble working just fucking everywhere. Right? So then you start, we all have that feeling that we're being lied to. Our history is from my receipts. I always talk about how it's interesting how technology sort of opens the door to things. Like, now that we have drones, boy, UFOs make a lot more sense, don't they? and understanding that they gave us stealth technology in 1989, and they supposedly had it as early as the 30s. So we're at least 50 years behind what they have. So now that they let us have really nice drones for a few, a couple $100, imagine what they have at their disposal. They just don't tell us about it. I know when stealth came out and you saw these black wing fucking crazy shaped, boomerang shaped, you went, oh, well, that explains a lot of the UFO sightings we've seen. So do airships, because a lot of people say they see the tubes. Those are airships. Airship technology was around way before airplanes, but we just don't talk about it. But it's you start to understand that, like, if you look at the Russian flag, right? And you see their emblem, their shield, and it's got a Templar looking knight on a white horse, and it's seemingly stepping on a griffin. A green griffin, eagle faced, wing, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you look at the Tartaria flag is that same griffin. Like a proud griffin standing there. And Tartaria is a part of history. It was what Russia was before Russia took over. They're the ones that built the Great Wall of China, because the Great Wall of China, the gun placements on the Great Wall of China are facing into China. So clearly, whoever built it was keeping the Chinese out. And build the Great Wall of China. Are you fucking kidding me? Come on. We're not built. We couldn't do that shit today if we wanted to. It's fucking stupid. But once you understand that Tartaria is actually a part of our history, it's real. There's a real, and there were the Rosicrucians and all these other things, and you start to understand, like, if this was real, why didn't we ever learn about it in school? Why did we have every year we had at least 1 month worth of history lesson on World War II and the Holocaust? Why? Why didn't we ever hear about Tartaria? And when you start to understand that this is a huge part of history that was omitted out of our shit, and you start understanding and looking into the idea of resets and all that shit, well, it changes it. I don't believe any of it. I don't believe in the slavery narrative. I don't believe in the Native American genocide narrative. I don't believe in any of it. You'll never hear me say free Palestine. Why? Because what the fuck are we even talking about? So by free Palestine, does that mean we put a monarchy in of some sort? Or do we put like an American Saddam Hussein type of a character in until we decide they're no good and then we want to kill them? Or are we saying free Palestine like pre-2006? Are we talking about free Palestine like pre-1967? Free Palestine pre-1948? Pre-Palestine pre-1918? World War I? What? Can you stop? Can you guys stop? Nate, stop. Good God, man. Are we supposed to, like, what do we mean by free Palestine? That doesn't, free Palestine's yesterday's story. The new story is Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Iran, the Greater Israel Project. The real, it's not even end Israel. I used to say end, it's not even end Israel. Israel is just the invisible house. It's just a fake fucking idea. The real slogan is end Jayism. We need to end this slavery fucking insane nonsense. How many people are going to say, yeah, it's okay that they cut and suck baby penises for circumcision? You guys think that's okay? Everybody okay with that? You okay with them eating foreskin? Are you okay with them eating placentas and all that? Is that's cool? You want that? I mean, I guess if you're gonna eat it, whatever, that's on you. But what the whole circumcision thing is insane. That we do this to our children is insane. And we do it because of them. We only do it because we're ignorant to it. We don't know any of that shit. Okay, so let's say someone believes you. Now what? Should we revolt or should we protect our loved ones best we can? Because I've been doing the latter. How? How are your loved ones in any more danger than they've ever been in? Do you understand that you're more likely to be killed by a cop than anyone else in the world? Do you guys understand that? You're more likely to be killed by a cop than anyone else in the world. Than terrorists, than black people, than robbers, than anything. You're more likely to get your ass kicked, especially, and killed by cops than anyone else. And nobody talks about it. Right? This illusion that, especially with white people, this illusion that you're in danger from South America because they want to come up and pick strawberries and shit. What about the fentanyl? The fentanyl's not coming in through the South. The fentanyl's killing 300 people a day. Are you kidding me? They have you all so fucking racist. It's just insane. And it's funny because, my person of color friend can absolutely either tell me I'm wrong or tell me I'm right. One of the two. But America is fucking racist as fuck. The whole bullshit with you guys want to pay $28 for a thing of strawberries and shit. I love how people act like there's all these white people trying to get those jobs picking strawberries and picking lettuce and shit. And it's just those Mexicans taking those jobs. All those doctors losing out on their fellowships because the Mexicans are taking their jobs. Like, you so stupid. I bought land that we built a cabin, a well, a propane gun, trying to get us. But see, it doesn't matter. See, this is where, again, low-level selfishness is not the answer. Do you honestly think you're going to get off the grid and they're, not going to find you? They know exactly where you are at all times. We cannot oppose this machine, physically. This has to be a spiritual, if you want, this has to be a mental revolt. We need the police. It's not fuck the police. We need the police. We need the military. We need them to realize who is pulling their strings. And while they're out across town or across the state or across the country, rounding up my family, someone dressed just like them is going to be rounding up their family. They just don't realize it. Free Palestine just simply a means to allow them not to live in an apartheid state. Again, that's not freedom, though. You're talking about Band-Aid shit. Freedom is to not be oppressed by the religious bullshit, telling you have to believe in this. Telling you if you're born gay, you should die. Telling you that if you're a woman, well, hey, we'll let you drive during the daytime as long as a man's in the car. We have to, all of us deserve freedom. It's not free, it's free all of us. We are all under the J thumb, the J control, the J illusion. Humans have never had freedom. Exactly. At least the narrative that we have. I can't save all the fish in the sea, but I like to think I can keep me and mine out of the net. Maybe. No, you can't. That's just arrogant, foolish thinking. You can't. They're using nets you can't comprehend, dude. You think it's a net, but it's made of lasers and shit, and it's got fucking, it's flying around with drones with hive minds. The technology that they have to use against us is so far beyond your fantasies. You just don't understand. Have you seen those hive mind drone things? Okay, we don't have the freedom here that you want, but it's still significantly better than what the people in Gaza have. Right, which is why we're so okay with it. Which is why they're showing us Gaza all bragging about what they're doing and then calling themselves victims. That's why they show it to you, so that you feel that way. Well, fuck, at least I'm not. Who the fuck are you to say at least we're not the. Fuck that. I'm aching inside and dying inside every time I see one of these videos of these children walking around bloody and, or in hospital and whatever. This is so much bigger than it's not happening to me, so I don't care about it. Yes, I'm super fortunate that my parents happen to have sex here. And my grandparents had sex here. Your grandma's all bent over the bed and your grandpa's fucking hitting it. You guys know that's what was happening. You know what's funny is most of you, not most of you, a lot of you who you think your grandfather is probably isn't your grandfather. They didn't have Maury Povich back then. And grandparents weren't driving around in the 40s and in the 50s and 60s in those queen size mattresses on wheels and parking up at makeout points so they could kiss. They were fucking. That's why VD clinics sprung up everywhere. Because they were fucking. Your grandma had 9 immaculate conceptions. Right, exactly. That's how we want to think about things. We all want to think about things. We think about things the way we want to. You literally have next to no evidence for what you believe in most cases. You believe the earth is round because you've been shown a bunch of pretty pictures. But nothing you experience tells you it is. And you still believe it. And a lot of times you get mad at people that don't. Not you per se, I don't know what you think, but like people in general. It's crazy to me how I am the bad guy because I question things. I would think if I asked you why you believe in God, you would be like, oh man, because of this, and there's this, and this, and this. Oh, it's so great, and this, and you'd think it would be like that. And every single time it's like, what? They get all mad, because they don't have shit to say. I did recently find a half uncle through one of my DNA sites. Yeah, those J-run sites that everybody gets their shit back, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you're 1% J. What the fuck you talking about? Way to give them, talk about tracking and shit. Oh, you want my DNA? Oh, here you go. You're gonna tell me that guy's my family? They had this one commercial where it was like, yeah, my whole life we had kilts and we ate haggis and we did this and we had bagpipes and we did this and we did that. And then I did DNA Ancestry.com only to find out we're German. So I guess we're trading in our kilts for some lederhosen. Doop. So all your family traditions and everything like that just go out the window. I know, because you suddenly, this computer system tells you otherwise. I mean, I just, the thing about me is I'm not arrogant like you think. I'm not arrogant enough to think I'm smart enough to pick and choose which things they're telling me the truth on and which things are lies. If I'm going to say 9/11 is a lie, well, then I'm going to say all of the shit they talk about is a lie. Right? Who am I to say, well, 9/11 is a lie, but this one isn't. Well, that one isn't. Well, the New Year's truck thing, that wasn't the ISIS attack. No, that wasn't. That was real. That was legitimate. But 9/11 wasn't. I'm really consistent, and I say it's all lies. They lie to us about everything, from your silly ass God, which again, the Jays think the Jays are the best. Muslims think the Muslims are the best. Christians think the bad guys who killed their Jesus, who looked down on them in real life. Like today, the Jays look down on you. They killed your Jesus, which is your Christian God's only kid, and somehow they're your Christian God's chosen people. Do you know how stupid that is? The ISIS flag was a blackjack. Right. What his plan was to bunch up an ISIS flag up on the thing, not fly it. And then when it gets crashed, it's all bunched up and it looks all small, but then it lays out to this like 4 by 2 foot flag or something. Like, it just looks so fake. It was all just so fake and stupid. And there should be, just like with the Trump shooting, where there were tens of thousands of people there, where are all of the cell phone videos and live feeds from the Trump shooting? 2024, people have 2 cell phones. Where are all the live feeds and cell phone videos showing every fucking angle possible, which there should be? And where are all the videos from that night? It's 2020 fucking 4. There should be security cameras and cell phone videos showing everything. Where the fuck are they? Look, I gotta go. I gotta go eat. I'll be back. As always, go get your free download, www.the-builderberg-group.com. It's free. All we ask is that you share it with someone. When it asks you how much to pay, you could put fucking $8,000 in there if you want to. But you could also put 0, and it's free. All we ask is you share it. I'm going to also put a link to the Facebook page in the description. Go get it. It's free. Share it. This is how we win. We have to fight back. So, everyone have a wonderful night. And as always, pedophiles, kill yourself.